we're going to tell you why you need to get to Greenland before anybody else does. Stay tuned. Where are we?
We are in Kirkland, Washington, outside of Seattle at a house sit, and we're so excited to tell you about our trip to Greenland and a cruise. So tell us,
why did we go to Greenland?
Why did we go to Greenland?
Well, first, I'm Chris. This is Steve. We're with EatWalkLearn. We travel the world full time with our two carry-ons and a suitcase, or two carry-ons as a suitcase. Glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. So I read a New York Times article back earlier this year. I know, New York Times. Love them or hate them, but they had a really great article about Greenland and how it's the next upcoming tourist destination. But what I really liked about it is not that we necessarily want to be where everybody else hasn't been yet, but we like the idea that Greenland has a goal of making their tourism footprint greener than not having a tourism footprint. So their goal is to grow their infrastructure to create green space and a green ecosystem and improve on the climate change issues that are happening there via tourism rather than have tourism make it worse.
Yeah, and that's important for us and important in our travels. And going to Greenland is really not easy to do. It's tough to get to.
Yeah, so for Americans to get to Greenland, you've got to go first to Denmark because Greenland is it's an autonomous region, but it's associated with Denmark. So you have to fly all the way to Denmark, and then you have to fly to Greenland. Not very convenient for North Americans to get to Greenland, right?
Or you can take a cruise. And that's what we did out of New York City. We went to Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Greenland. And it was a total of a 13-day trip.
Right. 14 or 15.
In the 16. End of August, 16, which was the perfect time of year to go.
Yeah, weather was perfect. The weather was about, the temperature was about 50 degrees every single day. Sometimes it was sunny, sometimes it was rainy, sometimes it was cloudy, sometimes it was foggy, but it was always right around 50 to 55 degrees. So it was actually really pleasant to get out of the heat from that was going on in the U.S. at the time. We need to give a little shout out to our friends Rob and Dave, thank you, over at 10 Degrees Warmer. They do a little video series about snacks everywhere they went. So we took their lead, and actually we're going to do something a little bit different on this video. We're going to splice in some snacking that we tried
that we did
during Greenland. So you'll see that as we come along. Thanks to Dave and Rob for that idea. All right, so first we hopped on the ship in New York, and it was a great sail away out of New York. Wasn't that gorgeous?
Going past the Statue of Liberty was fantastic.
And the fire boat and all that. I mean, it was really probably number one for a sail away from a cruise. Yeah. We were on Princess Cruises, and we did stop through Nova Scotia. We had 3 ports in Nova Scotia on the way to Greenland. So what about Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia was great. It was beautiful. Our first stop was in Halifax.
Right.
Didn't realize that they have an important relationship to the Titanic in that they were really the first responders for not the rescue, but more of the recovery.
Right, yeah.
And so a lot of Titanic passengers are buried in Nova Scotia.
So we went through the cemetery there. But I think it's one of the things so we like to say that we cruise Nomad style. So what does Nomad style mean, actually? So if you've ever cruised, the cruise industry really likes to sell you excursions and really high dollar excursions. That's not our style. We like to figure out, we're not scared of transportation and transit and locals and, negotiating with cab dealers and so on. So we try to do it on our own. So when we started seeing that all these excursions through these Nova Scotia towns were really expensive, like $250, we thought, well, how can we do this alone? So tip number 1, if you're on a cruise, here's your tip. Join what's it called? The continuous...
It was the trivia, it was the everyday trivia.
The continuous trivia. So every day there's a sea day, you get together with the same group of people and you play trivia, and at the end of the cruise you get a prize if your team wins. Yeah. This is a great way to get to know people because you meet with them every day, you talk trivia, you get to know each other. So that really paid off when we got to these different Nova Scotia ports because our friends who we made making trivia also wanted to do the Nomad style way of cruising, and and at several of these ports, what did we do? We got together and did what?
Yeah, you know, we could just hire a taxi, and a taxi that sat 6 people, you know, a large one, like a van, minivan, and share the cost of the taxi and have the driver who knows the area and know 100% of the, you know, of the what we're paying is going to the local community,
right.
instead of to the excursion desk on the
And then only a
cruise.
portion of that's going to the local operator. The money goes right to the local operators.
Yeah, and particularly, was it Nova Scotia or was it in Sydney? No, it was I'm sorry, it was in
Halifax, right? We hired the local guy, and he took us around, and we went up to Peggy's Cove, and we went to. He took us all around these picturesque places. You're seeing all the pictures here. And then the next day we stopped in Sydney, did the same thing, hired a local guy. He took us out to the Alexander Graham Bell Museum.
Right.
Got to dial our phone number from when we were kids. That was a lot of fun.
Who knew Alexander Graham Bell was Canadian?
Right. The Canadians did, but we certainly did. I remember him from kindergarten being someone that I thought was American. So
did you go to kindergarten?
I got to do a little speech about Alexander Graham Bell when I was in kindergarten, and I thought he was American. Anyway, and then our last stop was in Newfoundland, and again, beautiful, very picturesque, just a lovely little town. There we jumped on a free walking tour and ran into some people that knew us from EatWalkLearn and from our YouTube channel, and we jumped on the free walking tour with them. They were actually touring their RVs through town, and their RV through 10 weeks through Nova Scotia or something, and we just ran into them, and they said, "Hey, Chris and Steve." So we got together and got a picture and got to do.
It's great. It's great meeting people and finding people that you know. And
right. So anyway, but you guys are interested in Greenland. That's why we're here, and so that's what we're going to tell you. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Please subscribe.
But before thanks to Rob and Dave for the suggestion. We're going to cut right away here to our first taste test of snacks.
And hey, the light's going to be weirdly different because we were on the cruise ship and it was at sunset, and it was a strange situation where we were sampling our snacks.
Yeah. So here is licorice from Greenland. All right. Test number 1. So first of all, we don't know if these words are in Greenlandic or from Denmark. We don't know because we don't have a translator that works on Greenlandic. So anyway, this is a classic mix of licorice. They like their licorice here. It's kind of like when they were in Iceland. They like licorice there too.
Yeah, if you go in, even in a convenience store, there's a huge section of all different kinds of licorice and all different flavors and all different package sizes. Like, that's a really big thing. I don't think you'll be able to rip that. You just need to bite the piece that got manhandled. Let's try it. Yeah.
What flavor is that?
This is licorice.
It's like, I think that's chocolate on the inside. Like chocolate, licorice on the outside, and chocolate on the inside.
It's chocolate on the inside. That's ridiculous.
All right.
I'm not a fan of that one. Okay.
Now we're going to try just the...
Can I just bite off a piece?
Yeah. Just the black licorice.
That's good. That's good black licorice, and I feel like I'm a true Greenlander now eating my licorice.
I don't like it.
I love it.
It's too licory.
That's a classic.
That's for you, babe.
Okay.
All right, next up.
We have to try more of that?
Yeah, we got 3 more flavors.
No. Try.
I think this is peanut butter.
Red licorice with yellow stuff inside. I'm still trying to swallow.
That's peanut butter. Like peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly licorice. It's like Twizzler with peanut butter in it.
That's horrible.
See, I like that. No. All right, we have 2 more flavors of licorice to try.
Definitely get that one.
Okay, how about I'm going to give you one, and then I'm going to do the other one. So you have to do that one, I'll do the last one.
It's just like a root beer flavor, color. I don't know what flavor it is yet.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll let you know in a second. I still have no idea what flavor that is, but it's good.
And this is yellow with a black center. It better not be banana. If this is banana, I'm going to spit it out.
Oh, here, you have to have this one. Okay.
I have no idea what that is, but
A winter licorice from Greenland. I love it.
okay. So
Yeah.
not a big fan. You're like the licorice, but I was not a big fan. So anyway, all right. So we're going to do a little quiz here. Quiz question
time.
number 1. What is the population of Greenland? What do you think it is? Is it 60,000?
It's huge. It's huge. Well, what? There's 300 million people in the United States, so it's got to be about, half of that, right?
So here's your question: 60,000, 500,000, or 1 million? And the answer is 60,000 people live in Greenland.
Wow.
That's it. Isn't that crazy? An entire country and only 60,000 people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the first place we stopped was Nuuk. Nuuk is the capital of Greenland, and they have about 30,000, 35,000 people in Nuuk.
Yeah.
And what a great place.
It was a cool little town, and really, really enjoyed. Loved the colorful scenery of the houses and the tundra, the rocks, and we went for a great hike. And here's just another, nomad again tip is, instead of taking an expensive taxi or an excursion, we go for the local bus.
Right,
and
right.
I think it was round trip was $3 equivalent to $3 each.
Yeah.
And
Rather than the $150 they were charging to go hiking, we paid $3 or $4 a piece to go to the trailhead, which was actually on the other side of the airport. And it was on their wintertime ski lift, which is the summertime hiking trail. And we met another lady, and the 3 of us hiked up to the high point and got to look out over the coastline from Nuuk.
Yeah, and beautiful, the rocks and the ocean in the background, and the flowers. We'll show you some pictures of some of the wildflowers.
Yeah, and the
that
cotton,
we
what was
saw.
that, cotton plant or cotton flower or something? With flying in the, yeah.
I don't know.
Cotton
It was
something,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll see here.
Anyway, so that was a real fun time in Nuuk. Of course, it's now time for another, when you hike, you need a drink. So here's our next taste test of the local soft drink.
So, what do we have now, Chris?
Foxy Candy.
I think that's
Faxi Candy. Faxi Candy.
I think it's maybe like
Beg
French.
resident Antal.
Fâché.
Faxe. You and your French.
Fâché Condé.
Right.
pretty
So it's
sure.
some sort of soda. Oh, it smells like. What's that smell like?
Is it grapefruit? I don't know what. I can't. I
It smells
smelled
like-
it before, but I don't know
What is that smell?
You need to come over this way a little bit. You're in the shadow.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
It's like a citrusy,
I
but
like that. Definitely citrus.
like
little
it's like citrus cream.
little grapefruit flavor.
Yeah.
Little like cream, like
Citrus cream.
soda. Yeah. This is good. That's really
Yeah,
refreshing.
it's actually really kind of nice. I don't drink soda, and I'm not a big soda fan at all, but that's kind of nice.
Fâché.
Fache Condi. So how was that?
Yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
yeah,
really,
yeah.
that was good. That was a good one.
Yeah. So Condi, what do we call it?
Foxy
Conde.
Fâché.
Foxy Conde. Anyway, so then the next day, we cruise on over to the next little town called Qaqortoq. Okay, so here is your next quiz question. What is bigger? What is the biggest island? Is it Iceland, Greenland, or Great Britain?
Yeah. Well, Great Britain's pretty big.
Yeah, the sun never sets on the empire of Great Britain. But no, Greenland is the biggest island in the world. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is really massive. Of course, when you look at maps, the way they flatten out, the globe, and Greenland is always just this giant thing because it's not as big as they make it look on 2D maps.
Yeah. So
But
what did
it's
we do
big.
in Qaqortoq?
We played disc golf, and that's something that we're into
Yeah.
as nomads. We actually have a couple couple of discs to play disc golf. And there's the only disc golf course in Greenland
Was
that
it
we know of.
Qaqortoq? Yeah.
Was there, and we played in the rain, and it was great. It
Oh
was
my
on
God,
the
what a
side of the
blast.
mountain, a beautiful scenery, and walking.
So we walked right out of town, like maybe a mile out of town, and it was on the side. So there was this hike that you could go around the lake, and that had been canceled because of the weather. We ended up going to the same place where the lake was, but then we played disc golf instead in the rain and walked all through the tundra. Wow, was that crazy? Like, tundra is like this super thick, lush, mossy, green, flowery, wiry, branchy sponge that you walk along. So, like, when you hear about climate change and you hear about in Greenland the ice sheet is melting and it's exposing the biomass, that's this tundra. And I kind of felt like a bad naturalist walking on the tundra because I think if we were in a national park, you wouldn't have done that.
In the summertime, in this area, the summertime it's exposed. So this is, so that 80% of
Greenland is covered with ice,
with snow and ice. But the portions that we were
along the coast in the south,
it melts in the summer, and there's more snow and ice, obviously, in the winter.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that was Qaqortoq. So now up is our next food taste test, and it was. Okay, I apologize that I burp in this one, but it is. We tried a Haribo candy called Sally Soft. Watch this.
So, next up is a classic brand, again, super popular in Greenland, all over the shelves.
They must have had like 30 different flavors of Haribo, and they were all licorice.
They are. This is Sally. Sally Soft. I can't wait to taste Sally.
Okay, and then there's diamond shape and round shapes. I don't know. Let me see. There's the diamond shape.
Yeah, they're like,
and it's kind of mushy like a marshmallow. Oh, you're gonna love this. He hates marshmallow stuff.
This is like squishy, like a pencil eraser.
It looks like a pencil eraser.
Oh, even worse.
Oh, that's just. Oh my God.
Get it.
That's
While supply lasts.
That's some foxy candy.
Where's that? Fâché. Okay. Subscribe now to more.
That was not my prettiest video
still kind
ever.
of have that taste in my mouth of whatever that was.
Yeah,
that was
not something we recommend. We actually gave those away to somebody on the ship. They loved them.
Oh, these are so good.
These are so good. Right? Oh, yeah. Help yourself. Okay, last quiz question.
Quiz.
Why Greenland was called Greenland as a marketing tool?
Greenland was called Greenland
True or false?
marketing
True or false?
Because it's not green.
So true. Eric the Red named it Greenland because he wanted to attract settlers to come to Greenland. So Iceland was named.
I think he was sent there as like a prisoner. Like he was like.
Yeah, he was being sentenced there for his crimes. Anyway. Yeah. He named it Greenland so settlers would come, and it's much icier than Iceland is. So there you go. So our last city was Nanortalik, which was even smaller. It had a population of about 1,500 as opposed to the 3,000 in Qaqortoq. Tiny, tiny little fishing village. What's interesting about Greenland is that there's really no roads. There's roads within the towns, but there's no roads connecting any town, so you have to fly or helicopter or bus. Here's this little teeny tiny town on the southern coast. It's dark half of the year. There, 1,500 people live there. It was just a place that we just kind of walked around and kind of lived our life a little bit. We went for a walk. We went in the grocery store. What did we see in the grocery store? That was really cool.
So there's a lot of native people, indigenous people that are
Inuits
that live there, and they still have their traditional hunting practices. So there were things like, like whale blubber that you could buy
And whale
in the
meat
store,
and
whale meat
seal
and
flippers
seal
and
flippers
yeah.
that they still hunt in the traditional way,
Yeah.
and this is part of their
And you go to the grocery
their
store and you
normal
buy
diet.
it, so
Right.
that was, it took us a little bit to get used to that. Of course, we didn't buy any of that. We bought these snacks instead.
Yeah.
But we did enjoy, we went for a walk on the little tiny beach and found a ton of sea glass. I really enjoyed all the icebergs floating in the bay and just the beauty of this tiny town with these houses painted all these different colors.
Yeah,
It was
it
really
was great.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, another little tip is that we try to learn some of the local language wherever we go, and I've already forgotten it. Is these
Qaqortoq.
No, that was the name of the city.
Oh.
Qaqortoq.
Quayanak. Yeah, that's right.
Quayanak
Quayanak. Thank you.
is thank
Quayanak.
you.
There we go.
And
We learned 5 other
people
words.
really
And we had them on a
appreciate-
piece of paper. And every time we went somewhere, we would cheat because it's not an easy language. Because they speak Greenlandic in Greenland, and Google Translate does not have Greenlandic in it. So we were trying to ask people how to say things, and they wrote it down for us on pieces
But
of
the
paper.
locals really appreciate when you
Yeah.
try to speak the language.
Yeah. Okay, last up is our favorite cookie that we tried. Steve was in love with this cookie. He says, I'm never leaving Greenland again because of these cookies. So watch this. This is a cookie. Steve's like, we have to get these because that looks like my perfect cookie.
And we tried these before we even left the store.
Yeah, and
'cause
we
needed a
ate them
treat.
all through Qaqortoq. So there's
I
only
can
a
tell
few
you
left.
right now,
So this
these
is
are
not
good.
this is not a real honest first
It's not a
taste
first-
because we
first
love
taste.
these.
I know this is good.
They're really good. They have like a Victorian lace sort of cookie on them. And then the cream is like a vanilla cream, but it's double the Oreo size. So it's like a double stuff,
Really
little cream.
buttery and crunchy on the outside and sweet on the inside. That's like the perfect cookie right there.
Those are good.
So, thumbs up for our cookie. What are those cookies called again?
For Nuuk.
Nuuk. Kerfin.
Haffer,
Haffer.
Havredrom.
Pretty sure if you know Danish, you know exactly what that is.
I think maybe one's Greenlandic and one's Danish.
It's the same thing except for the
No,
vowel.
because you got the O with the dash, the slash through it, and the O with the dots on top.
Yeah, I'm sure I would not never know how to pronounce that.
Are we even saying the right? Okay, so we got our favorite cookie in the world.
It was so good.
And another
So
reason
good.
to go back
I
to
know,
Greenland.
You have to go back to Greenland to get it.
So we hope you enjoyed our video about Greenland. Ask us questions below. We had a wonderful time on Princess Cruises. Really enjoyed our time. I would love to go back to Greenland. I think Greenland's tourism is definitely still being developed. Infrastructure and development is going on all over Nuuk. I mean, cranes and construction everywhere. They're definitely coming through on that momentum to develop their infrastructure. I think the next time I would come back, there would be a lot more natural opportunities, like to go up and see the glaciers and go into the fjords and go hiking. I mean, imagine Greenland will be like the tourism in Iceland that's going on now as they develop that in Greenland, because so many beautiful natural places to go see that just really aren't accessible to tourism right now. But definitely get to Greenland. We loved it. We feel very special that we got to go, and we get to share this video with you. So, anything else?
No.
All right.
Thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you next time.